Alright, we're back. I've just looked at my mic. I think it's probably a good thing, so it should be fun. It's pretty loud now, so that's exciting. I have also discovered how to use major cities while they're not blue anymore. This is pretty crazy. I can actually use them on the right layer. Another great thing is I can do ideology again. We fix stuff. I'm really pleased about that. So, a few countries don't actually have any ideology, which I should probably need to fix right now. So, let's do that. These are mostly just the new countries who we made in the last episode. So, go down to Libya. Hello, Libya. Another thing, it's not helpful. Yeah, no, that's not helpful either. What? This one, and then we make it black. That's just not what I'm looking for, mate. What? Oh. Okay, this is confusing. Why? Okay, it's just a massive square. Why is the square so big? Holy. Why is the square so big? Alright, we'll just leave it there, I guess. That's not even helpful. I don't know. I feel like I'll sort this out at my own time. You know what? I'll just sort it out later. I'll tell you what. These guys, they are whatever it's called. Hey. Oh, I see. They are a normal monarchy, just a non-absolute monarchy. Where am I? I'm doing well in this presentation at the start. I'm doing really well here today. They're a normal monarchy, and Morocco is as well. They both revolted from the same country, so it kind of makes sense. And the pink country is also, so just a yellow monarchy, not an absolute one, like the rest of Italy, which is absolutist. Yeah, at least we can actually see this layer again, so that's pretty exciting. Any new countries over here that I need to check up on? I don't think so. Look at all these councils we've got. Got quite a few of those. This country isn't meant to exist anymore. That block. I'll remove it at some point. I might just move it now. Mightn't we? That's not quite the way around. If I just do this, does it? Okay, no, that's not helpful. Can I just take it away? I'll for sure take it away. Yeah, I should have probably done this like beforehand. I don't know. We'll just leave it, I guess. we'll sort it out some other time. Oh wait a minute. I can just pull out a quick. Never mind. Never mind, I guess. I guess I just can't do that. So, let's start the actual video, shall we? In the last episode, of course, we had these guys, the Algerians. They fought a big war, or Carthaginians, I suppose, against Hijaz, who now looks very strong. And in fact, on the subject of strong, Hijaz is now the 4th strongest country. Persia is still number 1. Central Asia is now number 2, and the Caucasians are now number 3. Pretty big gap between these two in Caucasia. Then it's Hejaz who's overtaken Mesopotamia, followed by Carthage. You know, still 6th isn't that bad. It's pretty good. There's Indians in 7th, Bengal in 8th. How are you in 8th? Oh my, they're doing pretty good actually. Then it's Bulgaria, and then finally it's Rome, but it's just Rome at the moment. I was really debating between playing Rome and Greece in 10th, because they're both kind of the same sort of strength. Egypt, not really. And the red team it's behind this red team, but they're not quite at the number 10 spot. This country is just land, not much power. Well, definitely power, but not nearly as strong as these two countries are. So that's why they're not in the top 10. But there you go. Here's our newly updated top 10 list. And then the audio cuts off again, so that's good. Great. I don't know. I did like a really good pre-recording of this. Like I just tested out the audio because it keeps failing, but. Yeah, that just didn't go right. I'm not quite sure what I'm talking about there, but I'm probably talking about Denmark, because Denmark's the next country to do stuff. So, they recently colonized that area of Scotland and Yorkshire, and they're going to be going on a new colonial venture off into Norway. So, Norway's capital is very far away. So instead, what Denmark's going to do is let's just wait a sec. We need to get the right brush. Invade this city near Oslo, going up to actually where Oslo is, and taking lots of these southern coastal areas. make a landing at kind of like Bergen. Actually, Bergen's probably where the capital is. And connect that front line. How they try to take the entire naval access on the Norwegian capital, try to like trap the end of those rivers so they can't really get out, and they push along that southern river. They take the city further on the north, but basically the capital city is kind of far in to mountains and stuff, so they don't go there. The rivers are also dangerous to invade, but we see a rebellion pop up in the northern area of Norway. This is kind of like a Lapland, I guess. We've got Lapland now, pretty cool. So they rebel and they just take over all that stuff, which is kind of useless territory, but oh well. And as the rest of Norway, the Danes will capitulate the country and take over the remainder of the territory. So let's have a look at a peace treaty. In this peace treaty, then, Denmark is going to be taking some Norwegian stuff. So, the 10 provinces. Oh, yeah, and I did already mention that. Oh, yeah, I forgot. I mentioned that major cities work now. It's very cool. I'm very glad about that. So, that's pretty exciting. The Danes take a lot of the city near the capital of the Lapland country, or what will be the capital. So, they have a massive new colony in Norway. And then I'm going to find a color for Lapland, and it's going to be this sort of dark lilac country color. So, not terrible, but all right. Um, there we go. Look at the Danes. Oh my god. Pretty crazy empire. They're going to take over all these northern islands, which the Norwegians did own. I just didn't color them in. And they're going to do the same for the Laps. The Lapland people. Laplanders don't own Svalbard, though. They just own those islands. So don't worry about that. Then the capital of Norway is relegated to just a major city in the Danish Empire. And the capital of the Lapland country is going to become their only city because they only have one. Because literally no one lives up here, so that's funny. Anyway, there we go. It's not the right size dot, but we'll get to that in a second, I suppose. Right, there we go. Cool new cold country, probably like the most northern country in the world, most northern capital, I'm pretty sure. Anyway, let's head over to another area. Staying in Western Europe, I think we should be moving somewhere. I don't know what I'm talking about right now. Yeah, moving to Western Europe, we're going to be going to Ireland. So, these two northern countries in Ireland, the yellowish and the orangish sort of country, they both already fought a war against each other, which was fought during their independence in the revolt against the French country, which I'm just colouring in now, the remnants. It doesn't actually exist. I don't know why there's some random dots in Scotland that are French. However, these two countries are going to end up back in war again, as the orange country believes they can defeat the yellow one again. They beat them before in the independence war, and they're going to try and do it again. So, they lead a pretty good invasion at the start, moving into Donegal and taking that major city in the northern area. They also invade into the central bit. However, the yellowish country is going to kind of prepare its military for a counteroffensive, taking back this major city and also pushing the orange team military all the way out. From here, they will aim their military at the Northern Ireland area. Not really sure you can see there, the yellow very much. But they take it. However, their militaries aren't very strong, so they don't manage to take any of the other cities. And they finally sit down for a peace treaty, where in that peace treaty, they will be annexing these three provinces. The two ones in like the Northern Irish area, and then one, I don't know what county is that? I'm not sure. So there we go, and the capital city is turned into a major city. And as for the Orange Irish country, they're going to turn the most southern capital major city into their capital, so it's far away from the Yellow Irish. So there we go. New Ireland update, I suppose. Pretty exciting. Heading back over here. Yeah, I just wanted to make sure I had the capital of the Lapland country the right size because, as I said before, I didn't. It was only 7 pixels, but it was only 5. So there we go. Ireland looks a bit different, and this Irish country, I guess, could do more stuff in the future. We'll see. I just love it when the audio cuts off. But anyway, yeah. So let's fix the border here in Ireland. That's some annoying dot. I just wanted to remove that. Anyway, the border is kind of fixed now, and we can get on with more invasion stuff, which is what you're here to watch, I suppose. All right, moving down to Iberia. Then we are going to be going to the Spanish country, I think. All these guys fought a war recently against the Carthaginians, but there's a lot of yellow team troops stationed in the pink team. Which for some reason, am I going to show that? Or no, am I just gonna sit and do nothing? I'll probably explain the Carthaginian bit. It's so annoying. I don't know why this audio thing doesn't work. It worked when I was making some other random video just yapping, but not here. I really cannot see their invading color, but it doesn't really matter. Um, so yeah, they're occupying these areas around two of their cities, and it's kind of like, why do you have that? So they begin an invasion, basically, after the pink team questions them. The pink team used a lot of their military to invade Carthage. As you can see, three major cities there. They kind of led that coalition to invade the Carthaginian country, which is why their military isn't as strong as it was before. And Spain's going to have a bit of an easier time invading this, I guess, Portugal, maybe. So there is that. Um, and yeah, Spain does a pretty good job at invading some of these central areas. However, I think we're going to go over to the orangish sort of Madrid country, maybe. Is that Madrid? Hello? I have no idea what I'm doing. No, I know, I do, don't worry. So, the orange country, are you actually going to do something or not? They were in the war against Carthage as well, so their military isn't going to be quite as powerful as it was beforehand, because, yeah, fighting Carthage is kind of tricky. They were the second strongest country in the world. They take one major city and defend their two other ones. That's where they did an invasion in all those areas. And this kind of forces the Spanish to ramp up their invasion, as they need to take more land as quickly as possible. However, heading down to these southern areas, we can see, the orange country doesn't want the Spanish to get like the sort of Gibraltar, southern Spain area, so they're going to try and cut them off there. However, they didn't take into account the fact that Morocco exists. Although Morocco got created last episode, regardless, they're still going to invade and take over that bit across the other side of the Strait of Gibraltar. So there we go. And now we can look at a peace treaty between all these countries, which for some reason took a long time to place all the back button stuff. But I did it, so that's fine. Heading over first to the Spanish. I wasn't sure what I wanted their border to look like, really, but I kind of got it in the end, so it was fine. They take lots of the southern territory. They're definitely not going to go that far east. But they take lots of the southern stuff going around here. And did they take that? No, I don't think so. Don't take that major city. However, I am going to give them that Boxy province that I just passed by. So, yep, there you go. They get that province. And there is the new Spanish border. Moving over to the Orange country, then, we see them taking lots more stuff towards these southern areas, taking a pretty long province, and yet quite a lot of territory for them, including a few new cities, and the remainder of the pink country will be handed over to Morocco, who got a lot more than I actually expected them to get when I was designing this war in my head. So yeah, they're actually kind of strong now. They've got a good hold over the Strait of Gibraltar, which will become very, 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 very relevant in upcoming stuff in history. I think it's a good bit to have control over. I do quite like the borders in this area. The orange country looks kind of cool. I like how spiky it is. Anyway, moving on over to the alliance layer, which still I haven't got to work. I got the ideology and I got major cities, but I to be honest, I haven't really tried alliances. I probably should try, and that might make them work. So yeah, we have, I don't know what that alliance is called. The Persian one. What shape is that? I don't know. On the thing, it just describes as a diamond, but I searched up quadrilateral shapes and then forgot which one it was. The Circle Alliance in China, which kind of is overly in the blue country, but never mind. And we have a Square Alliance in the Holy Polish Empire, which we actually haven't talked about for a really long time. So we're making a new alliance between the Greeks. This is going to be the Trapezium Alliance. So the Greeks are members of this alliance. We see the Bulgarians are also in the alliance. I think I drawn it in the wrong color. I drew it in the wrong layer, haven't I? Don't worry, I fix that in a second. There we go. After the back button. I don't know. That laugh is kind of scary. I should probably stop laughing like that. Anyway, on the right layer now, the Bulgarians, the Greeks, and the Libyans, who were funded by the Greeks in their bid for independence. Well, more the Greeks just invaded this, but they couldn't annex out of this territory because it's kind of far away, you know. So yeah, they're all in alliance together. Bulgaria doesn't really care about Libya, but the Greeks do. They're happy to have Libya as an ally. So yeah, it's generally pretty nice. And they have a pretty good hold over the eastern Mediterranean, or also the bit between Greece and Libya. Well, they joined. Like, was the Mediterranean just one big landmass ever? Like, where the connection bits? Because you've got that kind of like northern bit in Libya, and then Crete. No, don't go back. Do you think they were joined? Probably. I don't know. Anyway, I think here I got kind of confused on what to do. There was an event I wanted to do, and to be honest, I might just go talk about stuff that was happening right now, because I mean it's kind of strange. The Middle East now has so many strong countries, which is something that I kind of had planned before. Like all the strong countries that started there were in the Middle East, but like Persia and Central Asia and the Mesopotamian country. Let's talk about the war in Ukraine, but yeah, it's all very concentrated. But that's going to change very soon. The Ukrainians then, they're invading Crimea to try and get coastline on the Black Sea, but also they're pushing for that city down there because the Turkish country, the northern Turkish country that is, not Rome, they want to build their own sphere of influence. So they said, oh, we're going to fund Ukraine if you invade Crimea, just need to get a coast first. So they did that, got a coast, and now they're receiving funding from the Turkish country. So they've kind of built their own sort of sphere of influence there. We see the green Romanian, well, maybe not, like, what's that area called? Zaporizhzhia or something? I don't know. That's not how you pronounce it. Anyway, then their capital's in that sort of area of maybe Ukraine or Belarus. They invade, and so do the Bulgarians, of course. The Bulgarians love war. So Ukraine takes over quite a lot, though, so it's pretty impressive from them. And let's do the peace treaty. I was originally going to start by doing Ukraine's borders, but I like Bulgaria's borders a lot, so I want to kind of make sure that their borders look good. Also, I feel like they might be kind of relevant for a few things in the future, so I'm going to try and make sure their borders don't look absolutely hideous. You know, that's something I've got a pretty good idea on what I don't want to do. So there we go. They take over lots of this northern stuff. It kind of looks like Dobruja, but less. I just like Dobruja. It looks like a cool sort of peninsular thing. Now the top of their country, I could say the head, but they don't really have a head. It kind of looks like that in my mind. It's like a bit of an axe, which is funny. The greenish country gets a connection to the coast. That's pretty important for them. They're kind of a starved nation, but they're also a bit like a giraffe now. They look a bit like a giraffe. You know, they've got two legs at the back and like just one long leg. I don't know. I'm interpreting lines on a map as animals now. So yeah, this is definitely sent me insane. Anyway, they take another province from the Bulgars. I'm actually going to give them this northwestern one. Just makes the borders better, I suppose. Now the Bulgars now have some kind of like spiky hat thing, and Ukraine takes over the rest of the territory, making Ukraine a pretty large nation. So yeah, Ukraine's strong in this series. They also invaded Crimea. So Ukraine invaded Russia. Why is Crimean Russian? That's another question that I don't want to answer. I don't know. It's just a very tricky question. Anyway, if you enjoyed today's video, please like and subscribe. I enjoyed making it, and this one wasn't as hard to edit as the other video. I really hope I can get the audio to work. But yeah, like, subscribe, and most importantly, have a nice rest of your day. Goodbye.